Hello and welcome everybody to Women's Biz Podcast. Annie Gibbins here. Always love this part of the week where I get to share with you, introduce you to another awesome woman around the globe. And today I'm going to be introducing you to Neeraja Ganesh, coming all the way from India. So hello to you, Neeraja.
Hello, and thank you for having me here.
It's great to have you here. We're going to be talking all things tech today because Neeraja has had an amazing career in the area of tech. She's done a keynote, she's done TEDx, she's published. She's all about now mentorship and making sure that we have good gender diversity in this whole space. You're going to love our conversation as you tune in today. And I'd love you to kick it off then, Neeraja. Tell us a little bit about your journey. Where did you start off, and was it in tech when you first started your career?
Absolutely. It was in technology, and I started way back in 1992. So yeah, I'm quite ancient that way. And in India, it was, and I think globally, it was the boom of the IT era, the information technology era. So there were a lot of courses that were coming up. A lot of institutes were offering these courses for us to learn the software, the hardware part of things. And I decided to go and do a 2-year diploma. It was called an advanced diploma course from an institute called as NIIT. Just after my graduation, I chose to do that instead of the regular masters, etc. And that led me to an opportunity for a 3-month contract assignment in a company called as Sonata, which is also, it still continues to exist. It's one of the services company providing services, technology services to clients. And the interesting part was that I had to manage my studies along with the full-time job that they offered me, which was a big hassle. The hassle was, while I didn't have that many number of hours that I had to spend at the institute, we did not have computers at home. So we used to hang around at the institute to practice, get some spare hours to practice more, do our projects, etc. And the company had told that I had to work in shifts. So I had to work in the morning shift, which was getting very difficult for me because I wouldn't know when the PC is going to be available for me to be practicing.
Exactly.
Right. So I went and spoke to the senior management, and that I think was that's on reflection, on hindsight, I think that was an amazing thing that I did as this young 21-year-old girl who was extremely meek, timid, shy then. I asked for what I wanted. Right. I said that I can work, but the difficulty is the shifts. And
yes.
I must give it to the management there. They made an exception for me. They said, you don't have to work in shifts. We'll give you a dedicated computer. You can come in whenever, you can go whenever, as long as you complete the work that is assigned to you for the week and do it as well as, the rest of your peers do. So that was my starting of a technology career, which I went on for 25 years. I would definitely want to narrate one more transformational phase. I told you I was very meek, timid, shy. As a girl, that is how I grew up. And when I was in this organization called ANZ, I was asked to lead a team of 10 other people. And these were all my peers. What had happened was my manager was asked to take up an assignment in Melbourne. And I was asked to step in for him for 6 months. And I realized that as a meek, timid, shy girl, I can't really do this role well. And I needed to speak up. And that was very, very well supported by the senior management. And that is when the transformation of this shy, quiet girl to someone who speaks up, raises her voice, puts across her points happened. And one of the big transformations in my life has happened.
Isn't that amazing that you can actually pinpoint a time that you had a choice to actually ask for what you want? So it's almost like the second time. That first time, it's like, for this to even happen, I need a computer, which we cannot even imagine today. To our listeners, imagine that, doing an IT course and then not even having a computer. But that was the reality. You actually had to use it at class. So those moments, and I think that's a gold nugget for those listening in, of, even though we're talking about sort of back in the day, there are moments like that all the time, aren't there, that we actually have to say, this is what what I require to get the best out of myself, and it will be good for all of us if I can just be bold and brave. And, you look back and you go, oh my gosh, like, why was that a big deal? But at the time, these things can feel a big deal, particularly if you're not that upfront type of person. And I love that when you reflect back on a career journey, that you go, you know what, there was a time that I actually had to step up and ask what I want as well. And ANZ is one of our big banks here in Australia, for those who are tuning from overseas. So this ended up being quite a big role that you had. What has excited you most about technology? You've had your whole career in this space, and I'm assuming when you first started out, your parents and others would be like, is this really going to be the future? Can we trust this old IT thing? And obviously it has been a major framework of where we are today. But what excites you about technology?
Sure. So let me start by saying that I don't think there was any talk of career in our household. My parents really didn't envisage me being a career woman. I came from a very conservative family, so they said, okay, we'll get her married, and then she'll kind of figure out how she manages her life. And I was also okay with that. But the opportunity to do the computer course and then the job after that, and the fact that I married a man who was very open to me working and having a career, enabled this 25 years of technology career, and I'm still going strong after that in many other ways. For me, I think technology has always been a disruptor, as we know. When I started, for those of you who understand a little bit of technology and programming, I started coding in a language called as COBOL, okay? And we used to write pages and pages of code to make one small thing work, all right? But that was disruption, because I remember my project at that time was to develop a library management system. So from all those manual records that we used to have, now everything was automated, click of a button. And back then that was disruption. And in 6 months, I was working on another database management system where we didn't have to write lengthy code. There were small, syntaxes that we could use and do lots of things. So technology has disrupted, right? Today, nobody writes code. They will just chat GPT it and they will get the code. So you really don't need to know that. But the point that excites me about technology, and I wish everyone will learn about it, is that we need to keep up with the time, right? It is a disruption, but we need to keep up with the time. A simple example is your calendar management system, Annie. You have an automated system, I'm sure, where we schedule and it gives us reminders and it has notes that you can take. Now you choose to use that. I haven't chosen to use that. And one of the reasons could be that I think I have plenty of time, so I will do it manually. But the other way to look at it is, if I choose to automate it for myself, with the extra time that I get, I can possibly do so much more and get better and thrive better in career, in my personal life, etc. So for those people who choose to move ahead with technology, I think life happens, they can thrive. And for the rest of them, it is a sad story. So that's how, I look at technology.
Exactly. We can choose to avoid it, but it's happening anyway. All right. And if you're not going along, if you're not swimming along the stream, you're actually going backwards. You're not staying still, because everything else is going ahead. Right. So it's a good way to look at it. And it's a choice. It's a choice always. Now, you have become very passionate about mentoring and gender diversity. Why have you made that a major focus at this stage of your career?
So, as I said, I was this meek, timid, shy girl, and I got the opportunity to lead a team. And I think in today's era, if you were this very quiet person, people may not necessarily say, okay, let's look at her as a leader, because a leader is expected to have so many traits, including good communication skills. But in that time, they just chose the best technical person in the team and made them the leader. And because I was thrown into the water, I learned to swim, and then look at how life has transformed for me and my career has taken off. And I think if that opportunity had not come my way, if they had not pushed me into the water, I may have continued to be that quiet girl sitting in a corner, doing a little bit of programming and going home. And I wouldn't have become who I am today. And not everybody gets such triggers and opportunities. So I feel the need to sit down with all women, especially women and young students, and tell them, hey, if you have the potential, and just go all out for it. And it is not necessarily one-on-one mentoring, right? When I speak, I narrate stories, and that creates an impact on people. When I write and people read what I have written, or this conversation that we are having on this podcast, it triggers something for people, and they make a change. And that is why I feel we need to do more of this. And I kind of have taken it up to say that any opportunity that comes my way, if you look at my LinkedIn, I've said that I want to bring about a positive mindset shift with every interaction that I have, especially with women and students. So I will do whatever it takes. It could be one-on-one mentoring. It could be appearing on a podcast. It could be speaking on stage. It could be writing. It could be conducting a training session. But it can create that impact. And people are not just waiting and hoping for an opportunity to come, but create their own opportunities. That is what I really want to kind of make things happen.
I love that. I really honour that because it is through that collective and helping people along their journey. I think there was a sad stage in history where we used to just protect what we knew and hopefully no one else finds it because we wanted to own that space. And it was really sad. It was very defensive. And now having so many women, all of them on this show, are really passionate about actually just handing down that wisdom and sharing and trying to encourage people just to tap into that and to if it adds value, wonderful. Absolutely love that. So what have been the biggest challenges in your career that you think may have been influenced by just because they were difficult and you weren't ready for them, you weren't prepared, or if you felt that it was because of your gender, just because you're a woman or you had family? There's many challenges that we have. Do you actually see that you can pinpoint any specific ones that you might be able to share, and then how you overcame those? Or if you didn't and you had a lot of regrets and disappointment because of that?
No, I don't regret. I don't, never ever regret, because I always look at it as a learning opportunity and move ahead. There have been a couple of challenges if I were to look at it. One of them is that I have always been a self-starter and on my own. I haven't had too much of help. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. As I said, my parents really were not ambitious about me having a career. So today, if I look at me and how I am able to support my daughter, it's different. So I didn't get that support at home. And we didn't have mentors and platforms like we have today, or podcasts, which I can listen to and, see how to kind of grow myself as a career. So a challenge was that I had to do everything on my own. And I don't regret it, because it actually made me who I am. I have a huge self-belief in me that come what may, I can, figure things out. And I've really figured things out. So if someone listened to my TEDx talk where I speak about believe in yourself and be yourself, I wanted to go to a particular college, which was not really, known, and, it was not an internet era. So to even know that this particular college exists and this course exists, I had to walk in and out of every possible college in Bangalore, which I did on my own. Okay. So I think that has been a challenge, but it has also been a great enabler for me in terms of how I moved out of the corporate. I did it on my own. I picked up consulting engagements. I went and worked at a not-for-profit. I worked at an academia. Today, I'm an independent trainer and coach, all just did it myself. Okay. And the second one, which I can say, is about perceptions that people have of everyone, but definitely of women and of Indian women. Okay. So an Indian woman who appears like this in a sari and in a bindi is perceived in a particular manner and may not necessarily be looked at as someone who can run a business. And to erase that perception or change that perception, one has to work a little harder. So if I walk onto a stage this way, when I was not so very well known, people would think, okay, who is she? Like, what is she going to tell us? But then when I started speaking, people realized that, okay, she has got stuff, and what kind of a leader she has been, right?
Yes.
Of course, today people will not think of me as much because I seem to be much better known because of my brand. But that has been a bit of a challenge. The perceptions that people have generally of women or any diversity, person, who's not really, looking and seeming to be part of the crowd. I've
Yeah.
also tackled that and moved ahead.
Yeah. And I think it's worth noting that sometimes the reality is just because of the time on the continuum that we're in, it will be harder. But it hopefully won't be as hard as it was, for our mothers and grandmothers and different, racial groups, countries are getting real progress. Others go backwards because of world situations. If we're looking, like example, the Taliban's impact and things like that. But generally, it is steadily getting better. But there are times that you go, yeah, it is. It's been harder, and but here you are. That's actually a gold nugget as well, because it's saying I actually needed to go and then physically go and visit all those universities. Do the hard work, make it happen.
Yes.
Would it have been better if I just got the brochure or someone invited me? Yes, but it doesn't always happen that way. So I know you've done incredible work. And for those of you, sorry about those sirens, by the way. I think something must be burning nearby. There were lots of sirens before while we were chatting, but it all seems to have died down now. But I'll put the links to your TEDx talk along with this podcast as well.
Thank you.
So you've now moved into speaking and writing and obviously have a passion to communicate these ideas, with a passion to obviously help women, and specifically Indian women, be able to really, take those next steps. Is there any advice that you can give to those listening today who go, you know what, I feel like technology would be a great space, but I really just don't know where to start. I don't know how to get in. It feels very, male dominated. It feels very competitive. What's your advice to them today?
Okay, so I think women have a lot of chatter here. Okay. While there might be a lot that happens outside us, but there is a lot that goes on here.
A lot going on in the head. Yeah.
Only listen to the audio. I am pointing to the head. Okay, a lot of chatter inside our head. One can call it self-doubt. You may call it the imposter syndrome. It's a lower self-confidence. It is wanting to be perfect all the time, right? And all of this needs a mindset shift. There are plenty of opportunities around us. There is no doubt about that. There's no dearth of opportunities. And people are grabbing those opportunities. But if we are going to wait to tick every box on that job description to say, okay, I am not yet fully skilled on at least 2 more things I need to pick up before I apply for that, I'm sorry, you lost the opportunity, because there was someone else, could be a man, could be another woman, who applied for it. And for all you know, we had only 5 out of the 10 capabilities listed, right? So I think it's in our minds. I will be very honest, Annie. Remember when we first spoke and, you said, okay, let's get on to the show. I actually went and looked at all the guests who had appeared on your show. And I said, Neeraja, do you think you're, the right person to be on this show? So the imposter is always going to tell you that. Now, if that had scared me and I said, okay, I don't think I'm the right person, I will say, sorry, Annie, maybe not now, maybe later, then this opportunity goes away. But, I said, it's okay, let's go for it. I have something to offer. Annie thinks that, it is useful and it is important for others to listen. Let's have this conversation. So I think more than waiting for opportunities, go grab opportunities, create your own opportunities is what I would tell women.
I think that's a brilliant bit of advice. Create your own opportunities, because that's exactly it. You've got to be in the space, is my belief, to then see the opportunities around you. I think there's so much wisdom in what you just shared there, Neeraja. Often we sit back and we wait till we've ticked every box. Well, other people, you snooze, you lose, other people have. And you often think, oh, they must have had 10 out of 10. Often, if an ad comes up on like LinkedIn, for example, or your national sort of program that you seek, ours is called Seek actually, then you often think, oh, well, I need to have 10 out of 10, but you don't, because you don't know who your competitors are. You don't know what they're looking for. They might have a higher rating on something that you actually have. And even just the whole interview practice is fantastic, just getting experienced at getting interviewed. So I think that's a really worthwhile for those listening in to go, you know what, just try anyway. Also, then if you get to interview, you'll get some feedback. Always ask for feedback is my advice. Even if you don't feel comfortable about doing that, congratulate the person that goes, because you want to know, you don't want to just repeat the same thing again at the next interview, right? You want to know that you've been given some feedback. And I think there are, by positioning yourself, you went and said, create your own opportunities or see things. Would you even tell people, we'll go and get work experience at places that you'd like to work, even if it was for free, even if it's just learning? How do you get those? When you're at that starting off position, it can feel like quite a divide, like the job wants experience, but you don't have experience. So what's your advice there? I know you spend a lot of time with students to actually say, you know what, create some opportunities here, get yourself known, show that you're keen. How does that work?
Yeah. So I want to narrate my daughter's story. So she's 22 now, right? So she graduated last year and she's gotten into a dream job that she wanted. She wanted to be a data analyst in the ad tech world, which is where she's working now. Now, this organization has, as an internal staff engagement initiative, they run a 24 hours hackathon internally. Now, she's a fresher who's joined this organization. So obviously, she's still learning. She's not the domain expert, neither she's the technology expert there. And she has no clue what problems she should look at to solve through the hackathon.
Yeah.
But she registered for it. Okay. And now everybody else who's registered is much senior and they have a group with them. Because it's a group effort. Now, she doesn't have a group because she doesn't even know what to do. But she said, I have registered. And I went and told the organizer, I'm sure there'll be a few others like me who don't have teams. So you please put all of us together and we'll figure something out. And they did, create a team with her. And she worked, so obviously the hackathon, goes through the whole night. She did whatever she had to do and she came home for a few hours and then went back to continue. And she was not hopeful of anything. It was just an experience for her. Mm. At 5 p.m., she messaged me in the next day saying that, guess what? Our team is in the top 5. And now we have to do more work. And we have to pitch it to the CXOs. And look at that incredible opportunity that she got to pitch her idea and whatever she had worked on to the C-suite of the company. Okay, that's your visibility. Had she chickened out saying, I don't know anything, not this year, next year, then that opportunity wouldn't have come. But the better story is here. So this week is a week where their clients are visiting. So it's a week-long, celebration and a lot of things are happening. And they have another hackathon, this time to showcase the capability of their organization to the clients. So they're running another hackathon, but this time they've said juniors not allowed. It's only the senior folks. In fact, they asked the juniors to stay at home. But on Wednesday, that is yesterday, at 12 noon, she got a call saying that one person has pulled out. We want you to come and join the hackathon team. And she's there hacking away. And imagine, the opportunity as the junior most in the organization that she's got to be in front of the clients. So that's how I would really encourage everyone to look at opportunities, create opportunities. And yes, it doesn't matter you're a student, you're a fresher, you're a woman, you're a man, you are part of a diversity, a stream, go all out. What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. You'll always get a win. You'll get a win of some kind. Even if you just looked and observed, that's enough. That's a win. You still got something to share that you watched a project happening and you've now got an understanding of what's required. The likelihood when you're that understudy, we can call it, there are times that they get pulled up and but once again, as I said before, you have to be in the area, you have to be in that space. And I tell you what, listeners, it is great to actually go and own it. Just go and say, oh, I'm here because I'm obsessed with this topic, this whatever area of STEM that we're talking about today. I've just got an obsession. I read about it, I'm excited about it, I want to have a career in it. When you start thinking like that, sharing like that, acting like that, and saying, I just want to have an opportunity. Anything is great, even happy to watch. There will be times of growth all the way through there. You'll either just watch and learn. You'll certainly pick up, even just listening to people, which is why I love that you're into mentoring, listening to the conversations of those leaders within that group, watching how they problem solve when issues come up, seeing their processes, seeing how they engage with each other, how they use the team. There's so much valuable learning, and I'll tell you what, it all adds to your resume, and they'll know that you're just keen. They'll pick someone. I think I've interviewed a lot of people over the years, and you can just see the people who are just, I just want to be in this space, even if the job's not available yet. But I will. If you go and say, what are you going to do if you don't get that job? That's always a really good question, by the way, listeners. You always should say, well, I'll hopefully get the same job next time. I'll improve my skills. You don't go and say, oh, I'll just do something else. We know that you're not as keen. So I think through the work that you're doing now, what does that look like now, Neeraja? We'll finish there. What does it look like to be a mentor in this space in India? Do you see yourself there now, or do you see yourself in a global space because that's the way the world operates? What does that look like for you?
So I think the world has shrunk. You and I are speaking, you are in Australia and I'm in India, right? So it is global, but definitely a lot of impact that I would like to do for our country and our women. But I don't stop. Anyone can reach out to me through any mentoring platform, through LinkedIn or whatever it be, and through these opportunities that I spoke about. Because mentoring doesn't have to be, oh, I need a mentor. And I really encourage people to tune into some podcasts, to some video conversations, to some featured articles, because there is so much of learning and mentoring that they can get on that. In terms of my vision, I really hope that I'm able to attack the globe, if I may say, which is happening in many ways because of the social media and the presence that we have today. I don't have to really restrict myself to who I know. People are getting to know me. And that is one of the things that I would definitely urge everyone. It is absolutely important to believe in yourselves. It doesn't matter what the rest of the world is doing. If you have an idea, go all out for that. Second is, it is very important to network, because opportunities also come through networks, not necessarily, you just keep applying for it. So build large networks. I have programs that I conduct on networking and personal branding, which is the third one, which I definitely tell people, build your brand. See, I'm Neeraja Ganesh. I don't have a title. I don't have an organization. I don't have a website. But people know me as Neeraja Ganesh, and that's good enough. But is because I have built my brand presence to say, I am in the space of gender diversity. I am someone that you can reach out when you need help on X, Y, Z. So I want to further my brand presence. I want to further my networks and really go all out and create that impact with every interaction that I have with anyone and everyone.
Yeah, and that's great for all of us, all of you tuning in today. Think about that, just while it's a big focus to always be building your brands, but you want to really rely on networking, because your brand will build, you'll get more known, and you'll fine tune that brand, what you're actually specializing in, what your genius zone is. And you want your networks to be aware of that. So you want people all around the globe thinking, when I pick a topic, this is who I think of. That's when you've really nailed it. And that's when in every area and every topic that we have on this show, all of them are crowded markets and how do you rise to the top? Well, some people are, and it's because they're very visible, they're very well networked, they're very social, they're constantly present, but they work hard at that. It's very strategic, right? There's not many overnight sensations that just went viral. Most people, it's just consistency. And I agree with what you said there, Neeraja, that most jobs are actually through networking rather than advertised roles, right? Particularly government roles, they've got to put them up there, but a lot of them have already been acting in those roles, or they know someone who would be a great fit. So So go all out, listeners. Get into having opportunities creating opportunities for you to learn and grow. Do what Neeraja said. Follow your passion. Just dive all in. You've got to be all in. And, it's amazing how much luckier you will get once you really dedicate your heart and soul and time, energy, resources to making these lucky moments happen. I tell you what, you've got to be, as we know from Hamilton, you've got to be in the room where it happens. And this is what it's about. It's finding out where do you want to be positioned. So thank you so much. I've had a great conversation today with you. Thank you for all of your sharing.
It was a pleasure, Annie, and thank you for inviting me to this.
Oh, it's been great having you on the show. And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for joining us. It's a joy. I hope you're enjoying, whether it's on our audio platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google Play. If you're on LinkedIn Live, you might be on YouTube, wherever it is. We love having you join us. Pop some questions in the chat wherever you are listening or watching. We would love to get back to you, answer any questions, and always reach out via womensbizglobal.com as well for a personal chat with me. If you're at that next stage of making a decision to have a real shift, and if you'd love to get put in touch with a guest, I always am happy to do that. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and thank you, Neeraja, for being a terrific guest today.
Thank you. Bye.
Are you seeking a magazine that speaks directly to your ambitions and dreams of today's accomplished women? Introducing Women's Biz Magazine, where every magazine is a treasure trove of insights and inspiration. With Women's Biz Magazine, you're part of a community that empowers you to excel in your business and career. So dive into Women's Biz Magazine and be part of a community that fuels your success. Check it out today and let your aspirations flourish with us.